Hey everyone, here are 10 TV series with great endings. Because I'll be talking about details of the endings, I might wander into spoiler territory. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you, this is your spoiler warning. If you're ready, let's get into it. Number 10, Fleabag. Although this series is the shortest on this list, it had 2 seasons and 6 episodes per season. It was still a very great story that had fantastic ending. The characters in this show, they're fighting with their demons from the beginning of the show, and the way the story ends, they're already starting to grow and heal and face their problems. So it's very uplifting ending because I believe everyone wants to solve their problems. And when you see these characters actually dealing with their problems and starting to face their problems, it's something that just uplifts the audience and makes this ending a very, very good ending. And although the ending was poignant, it was still a very satisfying conclusion and it felt right with all the characters. Number 9, Friends. I still remember the ending of Friends like I saw it yesterday. When I saw the ending of Friends, it just felt my heart with so much joy because they tied up all the storylines and all the things that we've been following throughout the show for like 10 seasons. They tied everything up very, very well. The characters that we've been waiting for to get engaged or to get involved in themselves, they finally get involved in themselves and the characters are moving on. Oh man, it's an ending that feels right to the show because we follow these characters for 10 years. I don't want to see them remain in the same place, but all of them are moving on and they're moving on to great things. And it's just something that was so brilliant and so hard for me to watch. These characters have been following for 10 years, finally getting a satisfying conclusion to their story. Wow, it was just done so right. Even though there are some things that I felt like could have been done better in the ending, it was still a very satisfying ending and it worked so, so well with this show. Number 8, Avatar The Last Airbender. This show had 3 seasons, and the way the story progressed and progressed, and until it finally got to the end, it was something that was just so brilliant and so satisfying to watch. We've been watching the Avatar prepare to face the Fire Lord and to vanquish evil in the world, and it finally gets to this point. And this final showdown was something that was very, very satisfying to the audience. It didn't happen like ASAP. It was done very well and it was very satisfying to the audience. And apart from the showdown, where all the characters ended, like their story arcs from season 1 up until season 3 was just done so well. Imagine look at Prince Zuko where it started from and look at where it ended up. And that was just a very small child and finally growing up to become the Avatar. And other characters as well. Their story arcs were done very, very well. And all the plot lines and all the stories just rounded up in a very brilliant way and made Avatar The Last Airbender a classic. Number 7, Ted Lasso. This show ended last year, and honestly, it ended in the perfect way. I like this story because the story that emphasizing on the greatness of humans, the good nature of humans, and the way the story tells all the character story was something that was done very well. I mean, look at where all the characters started from the first season. Even the characters that were like the antagonists or not the main good guys, the way they started from season 1 and where they ended up in season 3. I mean, the character development is insane, and it does not feel forced. It feels very, very natural because we watch these characters, all these characters, as they go on this journey to become better people. And honestly, they all do. Maybe not all of them, but most of the characters that you care about in this show, they become better people. And it's something that makes this series so, so heartwarming. And the fact that the main character, Ted Lasso, had to just round up his coaching experience in the UK and go back to his family and solving all his issues with his family was another thing that just felt so, so right with the show. And honestly, the ending of this show was so satisfying. I was sad when it ended, but I was happy it ended the way it did. Number 6, The Good Place. Of all the endings I have seen, this one hits me the hardest. I mean, it didn't hit me like a bad way, but it made me reflect more on myself and reflect on the story because of how it ended. Man, this story was brilliant. The funny story of some bad people that make it into heaven and they just have to go through some experiences and in the end they finally make it into the real heaven and their story ends. But the way it ends, I don't want to give spoilers for anyone that has not seen it, but the way it ends in a very, very brilliant way. There's a line in the ending of this series that still haunts me today. Not in a bad way, but it feels me feel good and it makes me look forward to something in my future. One of the characters, after spending so much time in heaven, the character says the air in his body is finally the same with the air outside or in the environment. Like I'm not that's not how he said it, but that was the basic gist of the story of what he said. The air inside his body is the same with the air in the atmosphere. And I was like, wow, that was a very brilliant line to watch. It just tells you, man, these people are just so satisfied with their lives. They are done with their lives. And fuck, it just gets me so hard the way the story ended. And I don't spoil anything more for you. But if you've not seen The Good Place, my G, you have to watch it. If you don't watch any film on this list, watch The Good Place. It will blow you away. Number 5, Bojack Horseman. Who would have thought a cartoon about a self-loathing alcoholic that is half man and half horse would have been a fantastic show? And man, fantastic is an understatement for this show. As this show was approaching the end of the series, I was thinking the main character Bojack was going to die. And honestly, if Bojack had died, it would have been a cop out because the story could have been told a better way than instead of him just having to escape all the things he has been doing or all the decisions he has been making. But fortunately, the show does not do that. The character does not die. He survives and he gets to deal with the consequences of all his actions and just face all the things he has been running away from. And man, that was the best ending for this show. And it felt sad, but honestly, it felt so right with the show. And it was something that made me appreciate it so much. And not just Bojack, the main character, the other characters as well. The way their story ended felt so right with the characters and with the show. Number 4, Better Call Saul. Honestly, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are some of my greatest shows ever. And the end of this show, Better Call Saul, was just perfect. That was the best way for the character to end. And honestly, even though I did not like where the character ended, because I wanted a much more triumphant ending for him, but a much more triumphant ending would have felt it would have felt wrong with the story. And the way this character ended and the way the story ended was just perfect. And the fact that this story was in a box, they didn't have much room to flex their writing chops or flex their muscles because they've already established some things in the original show, Breaking Bad. The fact that they were still able to make a fantastic show within this box that they were casing is just something that blew me away. And the ending of Better Call Saul was perfect. Where all the characters ended, where Saul ended, where Kim ended, and all the other characters was just, yes, the right place for them to end. Even though it wasn't triumphant, it was still accurate to the story. Number 3, Succession. This show ran for 4 seasons, and throughout the 4 seasons, we've been waiting for the patriarch of this family to die and someone to take his position as the head of this company. And we followed this story for so long, for 3 seasons or for 4 seasons, until the succession finally happened. But when the succession finally came, it was worth the wait because everything that came about, everything that's happened up until that moment, just finally had a resolution, and the resolution was perfect. Even though it was a resolution that a lot of people were not expecting, the person that came out on top, so to speak, in this story was someone that I personally wasn't expecting, but the way the story rounded up and the way it offered resolutions to the main storylines was something that was done very well. And even though there's some storylines that were not resolved, it's something that just adds to the intrigue and the brilliance of it because it just leaves you to keep thinking what would happen with these characters and the rest of these stories. And just that is just something that makes me appreciate this series so much. Honestly, this series had one of the best endings I have seen in recent times, and I loved it so much. Number 2, Breaking Bad. I mean, it had to be on this list. It had to be on this list. This is one of the story those series that had a perfect run from start to finish. And man, the final season was whew, it went out with a bang. The way the characters ended, the way the story ended was just the right way to end. And the fact that this character that we're following, this Walter White character, got away with so much, got away with so many things, and accomplished a lot of things, and still finally escaped the law or something that was just wow, added so much brilliance to this story. And the other characters that this man ruined their lives. This was just another thing that just added to the greatness of the story because where this character starts from in the first season and where they ended up in the last season was just character development. Honestly, their story arcs were amazing, and everything that just came to work with the ending of Breaking Bad was just perfect. And honestly, this series had a perfect ending. Number 1, The Leftovers. This series blew me away. As much as I loved Breaking Bad, this series is one series that just blows me away with the storytelling and the writing and the ending of it. It's a fantastic story. When 2% of the world magically disappear, the rest of the people in the world try to make sense of this disaster. One of the things that makes this story so great is the ambiguous nature of it. I like stories that are very ambiguous, endings that are ambiguous, and this film just did all that ambiguity, and did it so well. And the fact that you have questions that you're asking every time you're watching the show. You have so many questions running through your mind. The showrunners don't always give you the answers. And when the ending came, they gave some answers to questions you'll be asking, but they didn't also answer all the questions and just leave it to you to make whatever you will of it. And that's something I just love so much. The ambiguous nature of it is just wow. It makes the series so much greater in my mind. And where the series end, where the stories end, where the characters end, whoa, it was just brilliant storytelling, and the portrayal of it, everything that just came together to make it work was just brilliant. And I loved, oh my god, I loved the ending of this show so much. So those are 10 TV series with great endings. What other TV series that had great endings do you think should have been on this list? Comment below and let me know. If you watch this video up until now, please like, share, follow, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Cheers.